Alright guys, how's it going? Mr. Extra from Team Extra with a deck profile from Mr. Nick himself. What do we got here?
Yeah, so this is my top 8 YCS Philly VIP Qualifier Scarclaw Kash adventure deck. Performed pretty well. Ended up going 4-2 in
You made
Swiss.
top cut. You performed really well.
Ended up going X2 in Swiss. Losses were to Sprite and Despia, and then also played Sprite, Runic Naturia, and then 2 Kash. So pretty much played meta all day. But card by card, the one Vsauce, pretty mandatory. Archetype kind of is based around Vsauce. It gets you into Barone, just pretty good in general. Lets you pop your Lightheart. You can relink, resummon the Lightheart, relink it again, get another field spell for next turn, so pretty good. Then 3 right card, probably your best monster. This one searches you out, any spell, any Scarclaw spell or trap, which they're pretty good. And then you can get draw 1 if you have 3 monsters on the field, which with the adventure package that I'm playing, you're pretty much going to be drawing almost every time you resolve it. Then I played 3 Balloon, 3 Astra, and 2 of the Acro.
Why only 2 Acro?
Acro effect is good for like OTKing and stuff like that, but these 2 are the more important ones, at least in my eyes. This one lets you attack multiple times up to the number of Scarclaw monsters you control with different names, and then this one gives you piercing, so puts pressure on your opponent, helps you OTK because you can do piercing. This one obviously helps you OTK too because you can attack multiple times, and then they all help you OTK essentially, but they all do something for you. Especially they're all extremely searchable too, so playing 2 aggro isn't that big of a deal, and didn't want to cut any hand traps or anything else to make space for it. After that, the spells and traps. So played 4 Scarclaw spells and traps, 2 arrival. This was at 3. Cut it down to 2 before the tournament. 2 just felt right. It felt a lot better than 3. Twin Sauce super nice. You can pop 2. Sprite is pretty popular in the meta, so you can banish this one still, and your opponent or you can't activate the effects of link monsters for the rest of the turn, so it's really nice to use against decks like Sprite. And then Defanging, this is one that a lot of people don't have in their deck list, which I think is crazy. A lot of people will put it in for this Splash or even a 3rd Arrival or a 2nd Twin Saw. But Defanging is so good. You can't target, so decks like Runic Naturia can't negate your try-hard, they can't pop it with the Flashing Fire or the Freezing Curses. You get a pop of your own, and then any monster that's destroyed by battle with your Scarclaw links is banished. So in general, Defanging is pretty good, and honestly this card comes up clutch so many times. Then I'm playing 3 of the field spell. This might be able to be cut down to 2. I'm liking it at 3. I don't mind drawing it. It's good when you're going second. You can just slap it on the field. Your opponent summons things in defense position. You can immediately get a pop, and so it's pretty nice. Kash stuff. 3 Fenrir. 3 Scarclaw Kash. This is nice because there's a Scarclaw. If you don't open a level 3, this can get you into your Scarclaw engine. Fender is nice too because you can use this, search the Scarclaw Kash, and then if you have like a hand trap, like an Ash or something, or a Ghost spell, you can normal summon it, make Barone immediately, and then get into your Scarclaw stuff by special summoning this with the Fenrir engrave. So nice package to play. Banishing face down is also pretty good. And then the adventure stuff, pretty standard. Just 3 Temple, 3 Right, the Griffin Rider, the Draco Back, and the Faithful. I'm experimenting with the Illegal Knight. Illegal Knight is actually pretty good in this deck. Obviously you want to be OTKing, so being able to search the Illegal Knight on your opponent's turn, or on your turn when you're going second, and then immediately bouncing 2 is really nice instead of just having the negate, which sometimes doesn't really come up on your opponent's turn, or I'm sorry, when you're going second. And then hand traps, played 3 Imperm, 3 Ash. These are just super generic hand traps. This deck can lose pretty easily to Despia, and so being able to Ash their Bright Infusion is pretty nice. Infinite Impermanence is just a good hand trap in general. And again, you can use the Ash or something like a Fenrir to immediately make Barone, which is pretty good. And then the final 2 cards were 2 talents. This is a 41 card main deck. I would play 3 talents, but I didn't want to do 42, so just playing the 2 talents. This card was super nice too. I think you only have to use it to draw 1 time, so because the deck is pretty consistent, and most of the time I was just using it to rip a card out of the hand. And since a lot of people are main decking Nibiru, this is really nice too, because on your turn when you're going second, if you have the talents in hand, if you have nothing that you want to take from your opponent, what you can do is you can wait till they hand trap or interact with something like a Light Heart right away. And then before your 5th summon, you can use talents to look at the hand, and then you can rip the nib out of their hand. So that came up multiple times where I was just able to just rip the nib from my opponent's hand and then OTK them. So talents was super nice. Extra deck, played 3 of the Lightheart and 3 of the Triheart. These are like the most important monsters in your extra deck, so you want to max out on them. Then I played the Asa. This card is really good dealing with a special summon of Fenrir or any Earth monster. Nightmare Unicorn. This card is super nice to have too. Something came up where I had Adventure Token and another monster. Made Asa, took their monster in the graveyard, and then made Unicorn, and spun back their Gigantic Sprite, so they had no follow-up for the next turn. I was able to win that game. Nightmare Phoenix, in case you need to pop something. This card doesn't really come up that much. Link Spider, in case you get nibbed, you can link off the nib token. Cherubini is really nice because you can summon it off of the Draco Sack, because the Draco Sack will special summon out 2 level 3s. You can make the Cherubini and then dump either a level 3 Scarclaw or the Temple and go into your Brave stuff. 1 Zeus, 1 Arise Heart, in case you take a Shanger Era from your opponent, you can just overlay it for Arise Heart, and then 1 Barone. So there's the extra deck. Side deck, played 3 Cosmic. You need the back row removal, nice for Floodgates. Lab's kind of losing a little bit of popularity, and so I didn't want to put like the Lightning Storms or anything in there. So Cosmic Cyclone was fine. This also hits Runic Fountain, which is nice. 3 Nib. Kind of have to do this for people who aren't respecting it. Getting locked 5 is pretty shitty, so you don't want to be vulnerable to that. Book of Moon. Can't be ashed, so that's why it's not Book of Eclipse, but Book of Moon comes up pretty nice sometimes. Then 3 Dark Ruler. This could be replaced with like Evenly or something like that. Dark Ruler wasn't really doing that much for me in this deck, but I just put it in there for stuff like Sprite, even stuff like Runic Naturia. If they set up like the Nat Beast, that could be pretty good against your deck, especially because you want to be resolving your field spell and your rivals and stuff like that. So Dark Ruler was nice. And then 3 Droll. This was super good against Kashtira, immediately hitting them as they search, and they're kind of dead in the water after that. So.
All right. You got anything you want to address about the deck before we cut it out?
Not really. I mean, deck performs pretty well. It's pretty consistent. Happy overall with how the deck performs. So
The deck's strong.
deck, yeah, definitely strong. Very nice to OTK.
One thing I noticed about the deck, Arrival not being a hard once per turn.
Yeah, I mean, even
That's disgusting.
I mean, this isn't a hard once per turn. This isn't a hard once per turn. So you can end up in a lot of situations where if you need an OTK, you can make your Scareclaw. You can make all 3 Scareclaws, or you can make all 3 Trihearts to cycle all your level 3s and then OTK from there. So it's really nice. The fact that they're not once per turn.
You heard it from the man himself. All right.